Hi, my name is Newest Cauldron. I'm the Northern California representative for SRAM. Today I want to talk to you guys about SRAM Red 2012, which we just launched on February 1st. With the new Red, we completely redesigned it from the ground up. We took all the best attributes and improved on those, and some of the things that people didn't like, we made them a lot better. So one thing that we did was with the new ergonomics on the new Red hood. So we raised the hood a little bit, give you a little bit more to hold on to. Made a much smoother transition from the shift lever onto the handlebar by adding, let me flip it up for you, by adding little bumps there and giving you a smoother edge there. So you no longer have the bump that you might have had, depending on the bar setup you ran, on the old Grupo. So that's one thing that I really noticed when on top of the hoods, even without the bars being taped, is that smoother transition. Another thing we did, we cleared up room here, so we kind of made the shift lever arm a little bit thinner, brought the hood up a little bit higher, and gave you more clearance for your fingers. So when you ride on the hoods, it's a little bit more comfortable, and your hands aren't touching any of the shift levers, and it's kind of free, more comfortable. Extended the brake lever down a little bit, so you have better access from the drops to reach the brake lever themselves. So same exact actuation on the rear. But a cool thing that we did too, so we've had reach adjust on all of our products for quite a while now, but now we actually made it a little easier to adjust by using a 2.5mm hex key there. So you can adjust that very easily to give yourself multiple positions. So like myself personally, I don't feel like I need to adjust them in, but I do anyways, and I really notice a difference when I hop onto somebody else's bike that hasn't adjusted them in, and I really have to reach for the brake lever or the shift lever. So great improvements on the ergonomics there. Let's talk about the new Red crank. So this has what you call the exogram skeleton. So it's actually a hollow crank arm. So what that does, it actually aids in stiffness but also reduces weight. So we lower the overall crank's arm weight quite a bit, but we actually increase the weight of the chain rings to aid in stiffness, so you get those very crisp, fast upshifts under load. Improvements on the chain rings. So we actually bolt the chain ring directly into the arm for added stiffness. Then also what that does, it actually changes the shape of the spider here. So before you had 5 arms that came out, and you had 2 really sharp bends coming off the crank arm. Carbon fiber does not like to be flowing in that direction, so we actually had to add a lot of extra material. But now having these smoother radiuses here, we don't have to add as much material, but we actually have increased stiffness because you have a better angle for the carbon fiber to flow. Chain rings are, as I mentioned before, much stiffer. You could tell by the beefiness, and then also we redesigned the ramps and pins a little bit, added more shift locations so you get much crisper shifts. So overall weight reduction of the Grupo can range anywhere from 150 to 170 grams. A lot of it starting here. We have the new SRAM brake. So it actually uses an arrow link. So improvements that we've done here is it's no longer a dual pivot brake, but it's actually a single pivot. But we have a power cam that's actually hidden on the inside, and you can see it here with the movement. We removed the quick release from the outside here, moved it up here, so it's actually more aerodynamic, keeps it nice and back and tucked away from the wind. And also the barrel adjuster is actually more aero too. But also one thing you'll notice is it's actually smaller. So there's less frontal area for those TT bikes so that have an exposed brake. This works extremely well to stay out of the wind. We actually have better brake power and better modulation with this new brake. And we already had some of the best-in-class braking performance with our old design. Unfortunately, I don't have the new derailleurs yet. As I said, we just launched this Grupo actually yesterday, so I'll have those in the next few days, and we'll get with Kinetic Cycles and talk about those a little bit more in depth. But I'll go ahead and touch on them now. So the front derailleur actually has what we call yaw. So yaw was derived from the airline industry or the aerospace industry. About how planes actually move in the air. And really cool thing is we eliminated the need for trim. So what you do now when you shift into the large ring, the tail end of the derailleur actually comes in, so it stays in line with the chain line. And then when you shift into the small ring, the tail of the derailleur moves out. So again, staying in line with the chain line. We have a built-in chain catcher, which is very important for the guys doing some of the rough roads or the cobble races. Just gives you that extra assurance of not dropping your chain onto the inside. Rear derailleur, let's talk about that. So rear derailleur has, the shift actuation is actually the same. We dropped weight in the body of the derailleur. gave a little bit more clearance on the inside of the lower cage for the chain line, but we actually added a little bit of carbon there for better stiffness. Really cool thing that we did is we have a coating on the pulleys, which actually makes it run a lot quieter. So let's talk about the cassette now, since we're on the rear of the bike. So the new 1090 XG cassette, much improved on the old 1090. One thing that we really focused on, since it was already the stiffest, one of the lightest cassettes on the market, was the noise. So we have elastomers now that sit in between each cog to help dampen vibration. Each cog is actually cut deeper as well, so that way if you want to use it on your cyclocross bike, you still have mud clearance and you don't have to worry about it. And we also borrowed some of the technology from the XX rear derailleur, which has the larger cogs have a little bit of cutouts in between to reduce weight. And that's all the information I have for you guys today on the new SRAM Red.